Panel discussion. The event will feature a thought-provoking panel discussion on CSR-CSO Partnership. What should each side appreciate about the other? The panelists: Shri Nirbhay Lumde, Senior Vice President, ESG and Sustainability, Prestige Group; Shri K N Gopinath, Executive Director, Dhwani Foundation.
Good afternoon everyone, and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome each of you to the decennial celebrations of grassroots research and advocacy movement. And as we gather here to look back and reflect on our decade of impact, empowering communities and shaping futures, we have a set of thought-provoking conversations to kickstart the day and the event. These sessions are anchored in some of GRAAM's core areas of work and are designed to reflect on the changing landscapes of social development and development partnerships in India. Our first session of the day is a panel discussion on corporate social responsibility and civil society partnership. What should each side appreciate of the other? For this session, we are honored to have with us Mr. Nirbhay Lumde, Senior Vice President, ESG and Sustainability at Prestige Group, and Mr. K N Gopinath, Executive Director, Dhwani Foundation. Kindly join us in welcoming them and give them a warm round of applause.
This important panel discussions on the occasion of GRAAM's decennial celebrations. I appreciate your time and participation. At the outset, I have two distinguished people here. I would like to welcome them. At the same time, I'm very fascinating to see a lot of stalwarts who have been working in the development sector are also sitting in front of us. It's very exciting to see this kind of panel discussion filled with a lot of people who have been in the sectors a lot of for decades as well. So Mr. K N Gopinath, the Executive Director of Dhwani Foundation, bringing over 30 years of diverse experience in social sector. Previously, he has served as an Executive Director of Operations at APD, Bengaluru. Gopinath is also Managing Trustee for Motivation India, which is also a subsidiary of Motivation UK, with specialization in wheelchair provisioning. At Dhwani, he leads the organization strategic decision, focusing on innovative models to enhance NGO processes and increase the visibility and scalability of grassroots organizations. He collaborates closely with NGO leaders, federations and donors community to promote the credibility and accountability of social organizations. Mr. Gopinath holds a postgraduate degree in social work and he is also a certified common purpose graduate. I would like to welcome you for this panel discussion, Gopinath sir. Thank you so much for joining. I request Basuraj sir to honor him. He has led enterprises towards net zero emission and enhanced brand loyalty through ESG strategies. His publications, more importantly, Mr. Nirbhay Lumde has been well known for his publications on ESG and CSR. He has written books on corporate social responsibility in India and as in India, a practitioner perspective. He has also co-authored IV case, employer branding through purpose-driven CSR. So this reflects his deep insights towards the corporate social responsibility. Nirbhay is also recognized as one of the India's top voices in corporate social responsibility. Let's join me in welcoming Mr. Nirbhay Lumde for this panel discussion. At the outset, I would also like to welcome all of you who have been here for this panel discussion on the occasion of GRAAM's decennial celebration. I would like to thank you and I would like to welcome you all. To start with this, before that, I would like to request Dr. Basuraju to honor Mr. Nirbhay Lumde also and welcome the CSO Partnership. What should each side appreciate about others? I request both to welcome Gopinath sir to start with from non-profit organizations. So then we will go ahead with Mr. Nirbhay. Thank you.
NGOs, how many of you are here? Oh. How many of you are from CSRs? Oh. So this talk is about appreciating, right? So that will be very interesting. I think as all of us know, we have just completed about 10 years of this journey and 10 years of CSR journey. So looks like very nice combination to talk about it. My own experience, what we do and what we actually see, how CSR is. Some examples of our own experience. Yesterday and day before yesterday, I was in Andhra Pradesh talking, and there was a conversation about how the funds are becoming difficult day by day. Government now stopped sub-granting, government fund is reducing or becoming difficult. Names came out from them whom they can actually say, okay, these are potential possible new or emerging donors. So this is one part of the. We work in Tamil Nadu and we started, so average ranging from 30 lakhs to 2 crores of the budgets that we work with. So this budget actually dipped. So it went up to 37 crores. Suddenly we saw a panic. And most of our NGO leaders were saying, I don't know what to do now. How do we move forward? And many of them said, maybe we have no actually future path. So that was at 2022. But we were working with them. One of the things that we do is, how do you first bring in process and systems, then look at new opportunities of fundraising. We just 2 weeks ago did a little analysis. From 2022 to 2024, what happened with this 32 NGOs in Tamil Nadu? Very interesting. So by 2024, last year, when they closed their balance sheet, same 32 organizations, their budgets were 69 crores. So from 37, 69 crores they have moved in the last 2 years. That was very interesting. Where did this money come? Then we were looking at it. So for the first time in the history of many of these NGOs, they had new names of donors. So we are looking at how many donors have funded them in the last 2 years from 22 to 24. About 75 new companies joined with these 32 NGOs. And they contributed these huge funds for these organizations. So NGOs are actually surprised. They never had something like hero groups can actually fund them. Amazon can fund them. Adobe can fund them. The names of the donors that we were listing on all these names. NGOs were saying actually we never even earlier knew there is a way forward for us. So when you look at what CSR is actually bringing, to me it came in a crisis situation when particularly CSO sectors were in a difficult spot. Because outside at what point when the sector was in a real crisis, CSR is there. And what we saw today with an NGOs is, this has created a new journey, new way to look forward, new way to see how these NGOs CSR. It's not just a money. So earlier donors could give money and some field support, but CSR looks beyond money. That's another opportunity I see for NGO world. What it brings is people. It brings in a lot of volunteers who could actually support. It brings in a lot of technology, which NGOs always find it very difficult to actually have on their own. So I was just reading this very interesting report where they have done a little study on about how volunteerism has actually worked for the companies and the companies' employees one side while it was supporting NGOs other side. So this is very interesting, one or two information to know. So this survey was done by the volunteers who volunteer in the CSO sector. Very interesting information. It says 85% will contribute to the other side. And it says 84% of these volunteers reported, and now they can relate very well with it, right? So this is what CSOs is contributing, other side, and whereas of course happening both the side. So one side, as CSOs, we see how we can benefit. To me is it is always still one of us trying to work together as new partners. Naturally, there is always sort of a. I think this partnership is only possible when we, as from CSOs, also respect certain requirements, even to the CSOs. Right? Of course, arguing about it. This is good requirements. Then I see a beautiful journey, which even yesterday I was talking in Andhra to our partners. All of us use mobile phones these days, and all of us have used actually.
Is so correct. Looking at the work, because volunteering, employee engagement and leadership connect was mandatory for us, because they did feel there is a value connecting with the global leaders. When they go back, within 2 weeks of time, there was guaranteed funding. I'm not just looking at funding, but generally I'm saying. But what else happened for a corporate? For us, it was every other global business update. We used to have a CSR update as part of our story, and we used to really bring in some of these stories very well. So therefore, volunteering and business development does happen because of CSR. So therefore, I think some of these things you may not be able to hear, but that's real stories. The third thing what really we appreciate about NGOs is about the patience. I think in the world of business, it's about instant gratification, right? I'm sure the other side of the world thinks that I've operated a grant, it does take amount of time, it's about 3 months, 6 months, there is nothing really happened. So the amount of patience and the perseverance that we really learn from the NGO sector and the CSO, amazing. I think the kind of the perseverance per se, I think I really appreciate it, because, and also the other side of the world, with the CSR leads, some of us, we also go through the journey that you have gone through it. We do have a board that we really liable to, we are accountable, responsible. Of course, Sir touched upon on the compliance part of it. If we really pay attention to the compliances, we would never be able to do any of our field works as a CSR leads here. So therefore, I think patience and the perseverance to pursue a fund is really, really important. The last thing that I would like to touch base upon is about we really appreciate CSO leads, especially leadership at the CSO. This does not get highlighted, it's not spoken in any forum. I think the kind of CSO leaders play their role. They really play multiple roles, unlike your corporate leaders. Corporate leaders are someone who really come with their subject matter expertise in one vertical. Maybe they are really good at maybe techies, maybe they are good at maybe HR processes, maybe they are good with their compliances. But in the CSO world, I think you are masters in everything that you do it. And sometimes I really meet some of the folks, leaders here in this. I really feel that you are building legacy. Something that's really unheard in this corporate world. You have got a leader, once the leader moves out, they rebuild everything from the scratch. I'm talking about the corporate world. In CSO world, the legacy lives. That's the beauty of it. I think these 4 or 5 things I really feel good about when I really look into it, and that's exactly I wrote in the couple of books that I really published. On similar lines, I really wrote about it. The IV case study, it would have not really happened if I was not part and parcel of this story. So thanks to the entire ecosystem that really helped me where I am today, and I am sure those of you on the other side also will benefit mutually while we build nation together. Thanks for the opportunity. I will be more than happy to share whatever the knowledge that I have in this space. Thank you.
The ability to scale up, the corporate leadership ability to think to scale, which our sector perhaps missed largely. So that's one, suddenly I can see that how can any company can even talk about that scale, and why are we not able to actually think that way, right? And we don't have many examples to scale in our sector, but where you have plenty of examples to see in other sector. So that is, I think the second thing is, I think, stay with the changes. I think we take little more time. as a sector, because maybe exposure levels, we don't have much the way the exposure levels the corporate world has. Maybe there's a luxury for exposure, which maybe our sector don't have that. So perhaps I see maybe the leadership there can actually stay with the changes that's happening faster and then connect and keep moving. Right? Our sector take long time because lack of exposure, lack of resources, right? Lack of guidance. That is another challenge I see. Perhaps that's something we need to learn. The last one is actually networking. I think we are only with our sector, and that is something I see maybe perhaps we need to learn. How do you actually go beyond and be a little more comfortable to do a network with the different stakeholders? Perhaps that is another thing we have to learn. Right? That is these three things. My sector, maybe CSO sector, I think we need to think.
See, I think I would disagree on the scale. I think we look at scale the other side of the world. In a business case, I guess we don't survive if we don't scale. So it's a survival.
It's a survival.
But I guess I think on the scale, I would really hold on CSOs. I will not talk on the efficiency because we need to really scale and we are looking at impacts over the years. It's not immediate. Whereas in a business, it's all about revenues and you look at the cost and revenues and what is the turnover. The first should I agree with you, sir, on the leadership for sure is about, I really look forward to the CSO leadership when it comes to because the kind of multitasking that really happens in a CSO versus in a corporate, it's very, very different. The power of influence is only hierarchical in a corporate world, whereas in a CSO world, it's very, very different. The third most that I really appreciate in the CSO world is about the stakeholder management. I think if it is not your business or your KPI, your job description is not part of the stakeholder management, corporate don't do it. It's pretty natural for CSO world. I think which we don't even speak about it. At the same time, when I see people from the CSO world, they can talk to the grassroots work of the beneficiary, can also change the tone and tenure with the government functionary, can also talk to a funder very differently, and also can talk to the meaningful way with a government functionary, can also talk very differently with the peers. That's the beauty of being in CSO. I think the skill set, it's amazing. I think we don't speak in any forums about the kind of capability, minus technology part. We don't speak in any forums. I think these needs to be highlighted because these we don't get it in any business. These are not taught in business schools.
Yeah.
And we learn naturally.
I think I would like to pick up there. There is no skill mapping which is yet being done, especially for the CSO sector, wherein we appreciate the kind of multi-skilling what CSOs does. So, certainly, what do you think about like the kind of the multitasking which normally CSOs does?
To an extent, I need to agree what he's saying. I think we have no option. That's how I look at it. Right? So, whereas other side you have a lot of options. You can hire an HR department. You can set up right finance director. So actually, most of us don't have that luxury. Perhaps that in a way, I think maybe an opportunity. So that is where we are actually putting our heads and minds into many things, right? Because in a way, what Nirbhay says, it makes you much more grounded person. Because actually, you try to do so many things yourself. But I think it has its own effect on it. Right? So because one person cannot do everything. So to me, the CSO sector is happening because we can't afford. So 90% of our NGO world don't have resources to say, okay, let me put this specialization. And perhaps that is what actually maybe made what Nirbhay is saying more confident leaders in this sector, because we have to fight all the time for everything ourselves. Right? But perhaps is that a great idea? Maybe that's not expected. In fact, that is where we need to look at how can we invest a little more on this sector, where the leaders of CSO sectors are actually allowed to look at core issues, core work. Today, that's the problem, because I need to do everything. And if we can actually solve some part of other things, then I see this leadership can be much more, we can use it for a much more bigger things in the society.
Again, I would come back to you. There has been, issues that mostly CSR does not support various kind of administrative overheads, and many a times even manpower cutdowns does happen during CSR budgeting. How do you like to respond? Because it's also important that they are also trying to help you in terms of achieving your goals of impact. At the same time, it is also important that they also have required manpower in terms of addressing this. How do you see as a CSR person?
Thanks for asking that. I think in this CSO, how many of you are really approached with CSR leads in that give me help, not if monetary, for the soft skill training of your own staff members at CSO? I seek out. So typically, I think when you are asked in a corporate world, if you don't ask, they won't give you. It's very, very simple. But I think I have at least my avatar couple of podcasts. I did support CSOs as and when they really asked for the support. Because when you look at see how many partners on average the CSR leaders really work, about 7 to 8 NGOs that we really work on average. And if I look at, say example, I have at each project is about maybe 3 to 4 people. It's about training about 25 to 30 people. It's about adding on maybe half a batch when I do any corporate training program. And in corporate world, training programs are not sacrosanct. It has to be done this way. There is always a scope to bargain with your CSR leaders or your point of contact. Hey, I have here my HR. I don't have full time, but can you add 1-2 people part of your training program? They will say no way. They will never say no way. They will certainly accommodate. Or they can certainly do an exclusive program for the partners together. One for human resources, they certainly do it. Soft skills, I think it's given. All of us in this world, I think we pick it up. So some skills when we do for our own employees, I think it's affordable for us to do it for sure. I think if you ask, it's certainly given. Skills is part of it. You've got human resources, the finance, spoke about it. I think in all my tenures, the 3 tenures, my CFOs have volunteered my own NGOs to work with their CFOs, respectively. What practices to anticipate how they can really prepare. In fact, we had cases where my own CFOs in corporate world help their CFOs to how really invest their corpus money in terms of mutual funds versus maybe those analysis as well. So therefore, the CFOs were willing to support. In terms of, for us, I think there is sabbatical, which certainly happens. If you really want to enhance, you have to be really proactive in this. If you really want to have a shadow, it can happen both ways. CSR leaders can also do the corporate world. Corporate leaders also are willing to do the sabbatical to this NGOs world. So look for and ask for it. I think shadowing a leader does help you. I'm not talking about the monetary support, but in the world of soft skills, I think these are given. And I haven't seen, at least in my case, I never said no to, unless it was about exclusively looking an exclusive skill set which we do not own a skill for sure. And also, of course, in the world outside, we don't have any per se skill set, any training programs as such. But if you really ask your CSR leaders or CSR corporate leaders, they would never say no to it. I think one such case used to happen pre-COVID. I don't think right now. The purpose, there used to be one program which we used to have an NGO and common purpose. So common purpose was one such thing that really was there till about 2019. I don't see thereafter. There was one platform, but that was really worth it. You used to have a sabbatical from both sides of the world. So those such platforms, still avenues are available. It's only about that you go and knock the doors. The doors are always open.
I think it's very evident that only crime really gets the money. It's all of us have to ask for it, definitely. At the interest of time, I would like to stop here and I would like to open the audience for the questions. One or two questions, definitely. You have a mic which is available in front of your desk. You can switch it on and then you can ask anything you would like to ask questions.
No, sir. Myself, but I am PhD scholar in demands psychiatric social work. So my question kind of thing, we are in Department of Psychiatric Social Work, not of, you can say, block placement trainees, or those are Master of Social Work students used to come us and part of their training. And there are a lot of contribution happening from their side also, because if we see outreach of the institutions, beyond their boundary, it is the trainee only which brings the new approach, although there may be issues like their syllabus may not be updated as we aspire. but there are a lot of contribution they say. So what you see, like this is CSO. Your talk is CSO, CSR. When we say academic institution going beyond their terms and capacity building to the people, because there is a Capacity Commission of India, those kind of institutions are primarily building the capacities of the civil servant. So what is your take on those kind of partnership or collaborations where we should head on recognizing the talents?
So, CSO.
Sorry,
I have limitation in terms of.
I'm not clear what is the question.
Yes, sir. So the question was
why can't CSOs and CSRs can partner with institutions like MANS and as well as other institutions?
I can answer on this the corporate world. That already happening.
that
I did work with IIT Bombay. I worked with maybe I guess it's all about knocking the door. I guess that's where we have been approached. But I have worked with 6-7 academic institutions as a partnership.
But no, there are some examples. The person sitting next to you is probably an example. Actually, if you could talk to him, he can tell how an NGO and academic institutions or an institution like NIMHANS really work. In fact, I can talk from my personal experience when I was in my previous organization. So we wanted to start a community mental health in the villages, and we partnered with NIMHANS. It was a beautiful collaboration. What NIMHANS was doing, two things. One, it was sending psychiatric doctors to the field, because we did not have doctors in the villages who could actually come for screening and checkup and counseling. Plus, we didn't have actually human resources in the field who actually can do basic barefoot counseling and other things. So actually it worked very well. Almost about 8-9 years we continued this partnership. Huge number of people at the grassroots level, capacity was built by NIMHANS faculty on the community health in the villages. So whereas the CSOs were actually trying a lot of work in terms of mobilizing, getting them to be camps, right, and then working with the local government for the medicines. So definitely it's a great idea, because to me that's how we need to work, because education institutions or institutions like yours and CSR and CSOs, if we can come together, then only larger issues can be solved, right? I think knowledge is something I see education institutions can bring to the CSO sector, and that professionalism is going to deepen our work what we are doing, and that has to happen more.
English language skills, someone's providing literacy and numeracy, we work on career planning. You know, there are different aspects, different NGOs or CSOs are approaching the government, and they don't know how to work with so many of them, and whoever survives and whoever drops away. And so is there a scope where we all come together, CSO collaborates together and puts up a joint front to the departments, we all go together and we achieve together something. And similarly, other CSRs interested in supporting such collaborators to ensure that
So we are trying to see how do we call it federations. It's an enabling federations. We are trying to bring an agenda first, then how do you actually approach together. So we have currently 6 such federations, and actually first agree an agenda and then see how we can together talk in a common